Hi guys, Alicia here, and I want to go ahead and continue part 2 of the masculine and feminine energies. And we left off by last discussing the wounded masculine and the wounded feminine. And when you get a wounded masculine male and a wounded feminine female, and they create a family, they get married, they have children, and the generational dysfunction continues to go to the next generation. And that child, therefore, becomes either the wounded masculine or the wounded feminine based on their upbringing and what they see. And the wounded masculine or wounded feminine parents, they don't intentionally mean to raise their children as these wounded energies. They don't intentionally say, I want to abandon you, I want to neglect you, I want to create lack or scarcity or these feelings of unworthiness. They don't intentionally do that. But unconsciously, by their behaviors, by their thoughts, and how they're portraying themselves, they unconsciously do this. Therefore, the child picks this up. And from the time they are 0 to 8 years old, they are very suggestible. That means that they are taking everything that is being given to them, shown to them as the absolute truth. Because they don't have a filter, or because they cannot differentiate or create thoughts by themselves without the help of other individuals, they are seeing around them their environment of what is going on, how their parents are behaving and portraying themselves, whether it's very weak or very aggressive, very manipulative. They are picking up all of these behaviors from their parents. And if their parents are both these wounded individuals, then they're going to unconsciously pick this behavior up. And that creates more dysfunction until they become, or until somebody stops this dysfunction. So let's say that we had a female who is the wounded feminine energy, and she's craving attention, she's needy, she's desperate, she's disempowered, she's seeking validation, she's in this very toxic codependent relationship, she's not heard, and her husband is the wounded masculine energy who is very manipulative. He puts her down, is hurting on the inside, cannot communicate, disappears, and he's hurting himself because he can't feel emotions, he can't express himself without having this mindset in the back of his head that he's been programmed to, that he's weak, he's vulnerable, he's incapable, because in his mind, he's supposed to be this provider, this very strong, macho man. And if he's having emotions, whether it's anxiety, desperation, and then having somebody on top of it, putting more pressure on him by their neediness, their desperation, it's only creating more conflict. And if a child sees this without understanding what is going on, they're assuming that a relationship forms this way. Right? Because these are the two people, the two caregivers in their life that they are going to mimic this behavior, because this is the first relationship that the child sees. And if one person is acting and behaving this very wounded individual and is acting desperate and needy and craving attention, then therefore the child is going to reciprocate that, maybe as a child in their younger years, or when they form actual relationships. They will mimic the behavior based on how they believe they need to act, because they have their parents showing them this behavior. And let's say we have this wounded female, right? The wounded feminine, and they are neglecting the child because they're seeking validation over here. Therefore, they don't feel worthy, they don't feel good enough, and they are removing themselves from the child and raising the child correctly. So therefore, the child is becoming this wounded image, right? And they're going to feel neglect, they're going to feel abandonment, they're going to feel unworthy, because the mother or the father, because they're both wounded, they're not going to cater, they're not going to give affection, build them up, or motivate them, because they themselves do not feel like they are worthy. Now, I'm not saying that this is the case for all scenarios. There are exceptions to this rule, but the majority of the time, if you have a wounded and a wounded, you're going to create another wounded. And depending on the person, an individual that seeks help can stop this pattern. So therefore, the child will start to grow up as this wounded masculine or wounded feminine, depending on the scenario. So how can we get into the divine aspect, the divine feminine, divine masculine? So like I said, we have both. We're both with the divine masculine and divine feminine, or the wounded masculine, the wounded feminine. We encompass both masculine and feminine energies within us. Therefore, we are action takers, we are assertive, we are logic, we are reasoning, but we are also very intuitive, we're very compassionate, we're very understanding. These are the aspects of the divines. And when you have two healthy people, so when you have a person who encompasses both and doesn't reject one or the other, they start to form this very healthy self-image. They start to feel worthy. They start to feel loved, the self-acceptance, because they're not rejecting any part of them. And when they grow up to really understand both aspects of them, they start to see and heal other individuals, because now they're going through this loving, nurturing place of compassion, kindness, understanding, allowance, surrender, all these different aspects, which is the feminine. But also you could move forward with the masculine, that's very assertive, very logical, rational, decisive, but they're not going to disrespect other individuals. They're going to treat them with kindness. And this is where the divine masculine and divine feminine are merged together in that divinity. So if a person encompasses both the divines, they're going to attract an individual that reciprocates and reflects back to them, right? And so because they are filled, they feel worthy, they feel that self-acceptance, and if they have children, they're going to build them up with a healthy self-image where they see that they are worthy, that they are kind, they are compassionate, they are respectful, that they could take action, they could be assertive, that their voice is able and capable of being heard, that their emotions are okay to be expressed, that it's okay, it's a human emotion, it's natural for them to express, be angry, be mad, and deal with it, and have a conscious understanding of what it means to be human. So the self-image that this child is developed with is that of the divine masculine and the divine feminine. It's a healthy self-image where they believe that they are worthy, they're capable of doing everything, and they're still getting the love, the validation, the approval from their parents and also themselves, because it is coming from a place where they believe that they are worthy. So when people are talking about the masculine and feminine, we need to understand that we encompass both, because a female could also have, like we said with the feminist movement, the masculine energy. But like we said also, that came from the wounded masculine. So a female that has the masculine energy or divine masculine often comes when it comes to, let's say, careers. We have very successful females that have careers where they are more of that masculine energy. And then when it comes to relationships, they're more of that divine feminine. Sometimes it's also flipped, where many individuals, when it comes to relationships, are that masculine energy, and they attract feminine men. And there's nothing wrong with that. It oftentimes balances each other out. But this also happens because of the dynamic that they were raised with. Whether they see this masculine energy, it's more attractive to them, so they gravitate towards that. Or, the males, they have the female energy that they gravitate towards, and it's more attractive to them. There's no right or wrong when you come to decide what you are, whether it's the masculine or feminine. But you also need to understand that you encompass both. And when you accept that you are both of them, you have a more awareness of yourself, this more conscious mindfulness of the self-acceptance of who you are. You're not either or, you are all things. And it's from the feminine energy that creates and the masculine energy that solidifies in the form. So I hope that this helped you. It gives you a better understanding of the masculine and feminine energies, the divine and the wounded. And if you'd like to see more videos, the next video we're going to talk about why we attract certain individuals. Please like, comment, or subscribe, and I will see you in the next video. Take care and bye-bye.